Hi, I'm Brent from Win Against All Odds, and we're here to inspire people to reach their goals, dreams, and desires against all the odds. I'd like to thank my sponsor, Crestlink, for all my clothing that you see I'm wearing here. And I've got a real special guest on today, Mike Staunton. I met Mike when we worked together at Tony Robbins, September 2017. And he's got a business called Money Like Mike. And what Mike does is he helps people budget, not waste money, and it helps them reach their goals, dreams, and desires probably quicker than they can. But his point of difference is that he'll hold your hand the whole way. So I really love that about Mike. Mike's a good guy. He's very health conscious. Are you a vegetarian as well?
Yes.
Yeah, so he's very health conscious, and so not only can he help you with money, he may even have some tips on here if he wants to in regards to health. So tell me a little bit about yourself, Mike. Right.
Well, my name is Mike, and like you had shared, my business is Money Like Mike. So you can find me on those platforms.
Yep.
I am American, so from North Carolina. I have been in Australia now for the last 10 years, and I went to school to become an engineer, an electrical engineer. And after that, I got the opportunity to come to Australia. So my first international flight was a one-way flight to Melbourne, and it was pretty tough. It wasn't easy.
Oh, wow.
I used to tell people that because I left home at 16 as well, it was easier emotionally for me to leave my parents' house at 16 than it was to come to Australia at 25 because I just didn't know anyone. Like I said, it was my first international flight. Everything's different. My accent, my clothing, just everything was changing.
Wow.
Yeah. And I've been here for 10 years now. So I'm 35, and I have seen multiple countries have grown so much. And we're going to dive into some of those things, I'm sure, of my journey along the way.
Wow, Mike, I actually didn't know that you left America at 16. So that's very ballsy effort, as we call that in Australia.
No. So to clarify, I left my parents' house at 16.
Yeah,
but my first international flight was a one-way to Melbourne at 25.
Yeah, but still to leave your parents at 16 is a big ballsy effort.
Yeah.
So
it was. Yeah, I agree. I used to tell people that I was just being a typical teenager when I wanted to leave, but someone called me out and said, the typical teenager doesn't leave their parents' house. So I was like, fair enough. And it came to a head, and everything worked out very well for me in the long term. So it was a great move. Yep. A lot of lessons learned, certainly, that first year.
Yeah.
And you grow up quick.
Yeah, good on you. And you've had any mentors that helped you along the way to show you about money or financially free, stuff like that?
Oh, certainly. It's one of my very first, and still probably my favorite mentor is Dave Ramsey out of the U.S. He's very big in his message of living debt-free and being in control. And I have taken his steps, applied them to my life. They work. And now I teach my clients the same things.
Oh, wow. So you still have a coach that helps you?
Oh, certainly. I listen to Dave all the time on his podcasts and that, but I also have personal coaches that help me out with business and my life, health, everything. I believe everything is related. Everything is connected. And so I view it as if I can't get coached, if I don't have a coach in my life, how can I expect someone else
I totally
to be their
that.
coach?
Yeah. That makes total sense. Oh, beautiful. So you're getting your hand held along the way like you do with your clients. You hold their hand.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And we met through personal development as well. So another mentor of mine would be Tony Robbins.
Yeah, he's a legend.
His wasn't specifically on finances, but again, it's all related. And it wasn't until I heard Tony say, if you don't give a dime out of $1, you're not going to give $1 million out of 10 million. Oh, and wow. I was waiting on the millions to give away money.
Yep.
And that's just not how it works. So when he said that to me, I started giving, and that is related to money, related to finance. because giving makes you a better person, more attractive. You get to have more fun. Like just the joys of giving has been some of my greatest wins throughout this whole journey.
Yep. So where's it? Have you been giving to charity or something like that, or donating your time? What's one that really warmed your heart?
Oh man, I have so many. And it has increased over time. So my very first time that I started doing giving was in 2015.
Yep.
And I bought a single mama car. So that was really cool.
Really?
And I did, yes. I thought I was going to make that an annual event, but it's only happened the one time because it's actually a little bit harder than I expected just to give away a car. Like
Yep.
legalities, insurance, what happens if there's a wreck? And I was like, I'm just trying to give you a car. And yeah, so I've moved on from that, but that was a lot of fun. Then 2019, I got to go to Tanzania and build water wells in rural communities.
Yep.
And from that trip, I got to meet the person on the ground. His name is Kazinda, and he runs that, and he wants to build his own international school.
Yep.
We've become very close over time, and we consider each other family. And I am now on the board of his charity that he's created.
Oh, what's that called?
I plan to participate in building an international school in Tanzania.
Oh, good on you. I remember seeing the photos when you went there a few years ago on Facebook. So in order to it's better off to give, yeah? Sort of a bit of a learning there for everyone out there, yeah?
Yeah, that's right. Make sure you practice it. And it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't have to be financially. It can be with time. I volunteered at Lentils as Anything in Melbourne, and I loved it. Right? You go in as a Patreon you pay what you think it's worth. And then the servers, if you will, people that, what I was doing, I was just taking orders and giving them their food. And that was all free. It's just my time.
Yeah, I've been there a couple of times, not far from where I live. So what can your expertise do to help others be financially free? So what do you do?
And that's a great question. Let's just keep it with the theme of giving, right? How do you give more money, or how do you give more time? And it comes down to being in control with your personal spending, your personal income.
Yep.
And the biggest thing that I think that I help clients do is get out of debt. And it's probably one of my favorite things. I absolutely hate debt. I will never go into debt again for anything. That's a personal belief. I know some people have a different belief, but I think we can all agree that car loans and credit cards are stupid.
Yeah, I agree. I call that bad debt.
Yeah.
Because it's not growing.
And so that's the biggest thing. Get in control of your spending. Get out of debt. Be on a budget. Spend less than you earn. And my clients that sign up for my 3-month package, we go into details. Like we're talking boundaries, right? We have boundaries with our neighbors, but we need to have them with our family, our friends, our coworkers. Most importantly, we need to have boundaries with ourselves, right? When to say yes, when to say no. What are our priorities? We also talk about communication, right? With your partner or significant other, how to create a will. When should you do that? What kind of insurances do you need to have? And we start diving into your retirement. What does that look like? Are you prepared for that? Right? Superannuation, or in the US, your 401k, those kind of things.
Yes. Yeah. So you look at everything. That's perfect. Because I'm an ex-banker. I did banking for 17 years, and I can tell you now that no one really looked in detail at their spending. They couldn't really tell you. I had to tell them. No one looked at their super, their retirement plan. Hardly anyone did it. People just lived week to week or paycheck to paycheck. And I can see there's a real service for you out there, Mike.
Yeah, there certainly is. I do firmly believe that I'll have a job forever. There's no lack of irresponsibleness when it comes to money. And I don't care how much you make, right? Like I have literally worked with millionaires and that had millions, and someone that made $1 million a year and just filed bankruptcy.
So it's all mental, a lot of mental, yeah?
It is. Yeah.
Mental first and then probably planning second. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know if that's right. You're the expert, right?
They're closely related. I think they go hand in hand.
And have you got any good stories of any testimonials of? Can you remember any good stories or feedback or something that a client's been really, really happy and they've said something to you and it really stuck?
Oh man,
What's your first one, maybe?
Yeah, this one came up to me because I do most of my calls on Zoom. I'm happy to be face to face if we're in the same area.
Yep.
But most everything's on Zoom. And this week I had a chat with someone. We've been working together for about a year, and just the lightness and the confidence that she continues to grow into compared to when we first started, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like for her, when she first started, an amount of debt, no money, paycheck to paycheck, like you're saying, goals, all these things were extremely vague and a lack of really confidence. And just this week, I said, she has now become debt free, put in multiple thousands into investments, confidence in her job, like negotiating skills with her employer, leaving the country and going back to where she came from, and feeling confident in knowing that she has money, that she doesn't have to work for 2 or 3 months with stress, right? So the stress has left her, and I can physically see it, and I think that's just huge. It's huge for both her and I.
Yeah, it must be very rewarding. Must hit you in the heart, I reckon, to know you're really helping people at their depths. So,
yeah.
Is there any other story you want to share that really lit a client up? Or lit you up? It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I actually had recently, a couple months ago, asked for these testimonials. So I'm just trying to think about which one. Here's one. Christmas time.
Yep.
A single mom with 2 kids. Of Christmas was always stressful. How much money do I spend? What do I buy the kids? And all these things. And then this last Christmas, she went to the shops, bought everything she wanted to buy. It was actually an enjoyable experience because in the budget, there was a certain amount of money that she had allocated to purchase those gifts. So it wasn't spending money she didn't have, like on a credit card and trying to pay it off in the new year, right? This was planned. And she sent me a message, and it was just beautiful, right? I could just feel it in that conversation that we were having of just not having stress, right? Getting out of debt, having an emergency fund, and being able to enjoy your money. And that one really touched my heart because I've known far too many people that go on holidays, as an example, on a credit card. Like, I mean, backpacking, spending $12,000, $24,000 on a credit card with the expectations to pay it off when they got back. And it's years later and they're still paying for it.
Wow. Didn't know people did that. Whew. So, if you had 3 tips, your top 3 tips to help people be financially free and have more money so they can actually enjoy their Christmases and enjoy their time with their family more and actually enjoy their time away or holidays, what would you advise people?
The first thing is make the decision. Decide to get out of debt.
Yep.
And then create the plan to get out of debt. Did I mention get out of debt?
You get out of debt and probably stick to the plan as well.
And stick to the plan. That's right. So you can continue to spend on things that bring you joy.
Yep.
And that may be going out to eat or personal development courses. I don't care what you put and spend your money on.
Yep.
But do it on purpose and don't spend money on things you don't care about. I'll give you a good example for me is I've been sober for 6 years. Therefore, I no longer spend money on drinks. At the same time, I conveniently stopped buying meat for the house.
Yep.
And now I am plant-based. But I've taken that money piece of it, so I no longer am, I say wasting, but I'm no longer spending money on things that don't bring me joy. Now, I still can go and get the social aspects and meet with people and have fun.
Yes.
But now I get to spend more money on the things I do enjoy, like giving or travel, whatever that looks like for me.
Yeah.
And so those are the things that you can continue to keep your same lifestyle, but just switching it up just a little bit.
Yeah, well,
And I think one of the things I got caught up with, I don't know if you've done this, or for anyone that's listening, stop trying to buy things that you can't afford to impress people that you don't even really like.
yeah, keeping up with the Joneses, right? Keeping up with
the Joneses.
What your mates have. Oh, they got a new car. I better get a new car. Well, the new car isn't going to make you money. It's going to lose your money. So it's just having the mindset of what it's actually doing for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So have you ever battled being poor, I guess?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I left at 16, like I mentioned, and didn't even have a car. What did I have? I don't know. The equivalent of a suitcase full of clothes.
Wow.
I would say. That's what I left with. And everything I owned, I finally did buy a car a few months later for $500.
Yeah.
And
what was
I loved it.
What'd you get?
An 87 CRX.
Is it a Honda?
Honda CRX, yes.
Yep. Okay.
Little hatchback.
Oh, cool. And so there's everywhere.
I got made fun of. I'm a pretty big guy. We're about the same size, you and I. And it was always funny for me to get out of that car just because the roof really came up to your hip, basically.
Oh, wow. Like when you see they get a bunch of clowns in a Mini. You've seen that on
that's right. That's what
it was like. That
it could have looked like. The beautiful thing, that one thing I loved about this car was the fuel efficiency. Like I got great mileage on a tank of gas. But the other thing that I liked was there was no back seat. So it's just the front two. And I have never had more room in a car in anything I've ever driven.
Wow. Yeah, it is tough. When you do a long drive, I'm 196 centimeters. What are you, Mike? About 190?
191, yes.
191. Right. So on a long drive, the back does hurt a little bit because we just don't fit in cars, right?
And that's it.
Is there anything else you want to delve into?
Well, I guess, we can continue with the being poor. I mean, we've all experienced being broke. So I would like to change the terminology. I've never been poor. Yep. I have been broke, but I've never been poor. In my opinion, poor is a state of mind. Being broke is temporary.
Yes.
So I can temporarily be broke. I don't have money, paycheck to paycheck. But being poor is like poor me. My spirit animal is Eeyore. Oh, the sky is falling. Oh, poor me.
Ah, I see. Like, right? So it's, yep.
And so I haven't been poor, but I have been broke. So I do want to make that distinction.
Yeah, that makes total sense. So it's you're referring to mindset again. You're referring back to mindset.
Exactly.
And so it sounds like you show people how to budget for their goals and dreams in the future. You also teach them how to get out of their limiting beliefs, their blockages, their poor self-talk, which I call negative self-talk, more into positive self-talk. So it sounds like you're not just dealing with money, you're dealing with people and their personalities. And it's sort of doing some life, just so our listeners understand out there, sort of like life coaching skills you help them with as well. To help them with themselves. So it's not just about the money, but does that sound about right?
That is. And many times I've had complete hour-long sessions where we didn't even talk about money, right? It's about the mind or the conversation or, therapy-like sessions, life goals. There's just all these things it's all connected with. And I definitely dive deeper into the personalities of things. And that's why I have only continued to work one-on-one with clients. I have not graduated into group coaching at this point, but, and this is the reason why, because everybody is individual. We all hear things differently. We all want to do things differently. And that's what I love to do is tackle those things in a one-on-one coaching session. Yeah,
that makes more sense because you can get right to the heart. And if you do a one-on-one is much better than a group because people actually tell their truths. But in a group setting, they're not going to say much. So they're hiding their true self. So Money Like Mike is basically a money coach and a life coach all rolled into one. So you're getting a double banger there when you sign up with Mike. So Mike, where can people find you?
So I'm on Facebook and Instagram. I do have a blog and a podcast. all of that is Money Like Mike.
Money Like Mike.
MoneyLikeMike.com.
Yep.
And I have my own podcast as well to jump on there and have a listen.
Oh, perfect. Is there anything else you want to touch on today, Mike? Any more tips?
What other tips do I have? Like, I can't stress enough to get out of debt. I mean, we've had a couple questions and conversations prior to recording, and if I could go back in time and tell my younger self, that's what it would be. Just don't go into debt. Like, I know the choices that I made were silly when I started financing things at 19 years old.
Yeah.
And if I can go back in time to not let my wants get in the way of my needs.
I see. So you help people distinguish, a want versus a need. Do you really need that new car?
Yeah.
Do you really need that holiday, or do you want it? So that's another mindset thing as well that you're helping people with.
Yeah, that's right. And thinking long term, it works right now. Let's just think of a car.
Yep.
My car was $500, and when I was 19, I was like, oh man, I really want a truck, like a bigger truck. And so I went out and bought a brand new truck. Yep. And I didn't need that. That car was perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, for $500, right? Like, I actually had it for 6 years, loved it, and I wasn't disappointed if that left me on the side of the road, which was part of my story. That brand new truck that I bought, I was still making payments on it, and it left me on the side of the road. Not the $500 car, the brand new truck. And that was probably the moment that I realized I've got to get my shit together.
Wow.
And I just couldn't believe it. I didn't want to do that anymore, like that paycheck to paycheck, that rat in the wheel, the cycle, because we don't know what's in the future. If you would ask me at 20 years old when I had all this debt, would I be listening to, or living in Australia? Would I have another passport? No. I had no idea. I had no clue. I mean, and to tell you how ignorant I was, I didn't even know where New Zealand was on the map.
Yep.
I had no clue what my life was going to look like and what I was going to be doing and how I was going to be living this minimalistic travel lifestyle that I live now.
Yep.
And we just don't know. The point of that is we don't know what's around the corner. But by not having debt, by being in control of my money and my spending, I have these options. I'm open to meeting new people, going on podcasts, going to Tony Robbins events, meeting Dave Ramsey and his personalities. Like, there's just all these things that I now have the ability to do because I set boundaries with myself.
Yeah.
I told myself, no, I don't need that. That's a want. There's nothing wrong with wants, but making that clear, that is a want. That's not a need.
Yeah, no, I fully understand. When I was 26, I was a bit of a hoon back in my day, and I saw this bright yellow VL Turbo Commodore, fastest car in Shepparton, drive past me, and I asked my mate, I said, whose car is that? Can you ring him? He knew him. I bought it. But It was the best looking car and the fastest car in Shepparton. I got so many looks, but after 2 weeks, it wore off. So I put myself into debt for that car. It was about 14 grand. I didn't need it, but I sure damn wanted it.
Yeah.
And so I understand what you mean by getting something shiny, brand new, and the joy of having it wore off after 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It was just, whereas yesterday, I got my new set of golf clubs. I mean, I'm a professional golfer, so I need new golf clubs to play. That gives me so much more joy. And they don't really cost me anything because thanks Mizuno for looking after me really well. But they don't really cost me anything because all the joy it brings. Plus, I need it for work anyway, so it's a tax deduction. So, I know what you mean by wants and needs. I need good golf equipment so I can make money to play golf, right?
and that's a great way of another distinction that I don't want people to miss is you finance that car, so the joy wore off, but you still had the payment.
Yep.
The golf clubs you paid for in cash or
cash.
or given whatever. It wasn't financed, right?
No.
So even if it wears off, it's not a reminder every single month when you get a bill.
No, that's right. Yeah, correct. Yeah. And that's a mindset thing as well, isn't it? Mm. And because I know you and I know you're very health conscious, do you think by changing to a plant-based has helped your focus as well? Like helped your decisions by being healthier?
So it has for me. And I do want to share with, once you get control in one area of your life, other areas come into control.
Yep.
For my story, money was first and then health came later. But a lot of times, a lot of people I meet now and that I have surrounded myself with is health is first and then money is later. And it doesn't matter. I think health and wealth go hand in hand once you get control in those areas. And then it can bleed over into relationships and your career and just all these different areas that you start to want to control or, have plans and goals and improve and grow. So for me, being plant-based has definitely changed my life, like in the sense of financially. We spent less money on food.
Yeah.
Not drinking. I mean, not drinking for 6 years has probably equated to $100,000 easily.
I agree.
And everything that comes with it, right? There's no 3 a.m. kebabs anymore for me. All right. Those kind of things. And what else has come up? Like, I wake up with the sun. I haven't set an alarm in those 6 years. I quit setting alarms. And I get up naturally. Like today, I got up at 5 a.m. The sun wasn't quite up yet, but I also went to bed at 8:30 last night. I'm just listening to my body more. Now, I'm not saying that everyone should be plant-based, but I do believe that you should listen to your body. What is your body telling you? What does your body need? And go with that.
Well, life is
and try
energy.
Things.
Yeah, I agree with that because life is energy, and in order to have life or a good life, you have to have energy to do it. And if you haven't got energy, you haven't got focus. So if you haven't got focus, well, then it's hard to plan. So it all rolls into one. So any last words today, Mike? Thanks for coming on, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Try things. We didn't really talk about that today, but try not spending money for one day. Like if you're listening and you want to challenge, try going a whole day without spending some money, which to me is very easy. I'm a natural saver. I'm not a natural spender, but a lot of people are natural spenders.
Yeah.
And over the last year, I've really realized how many people spend money multiple times a day. And I know that because of plastic or our phone when I see people's bank statements. And the record that I have seen is 121 transactions in 1 month on a bank card.
121.
That is over 3 a day. So nearly 4 a day for this month that I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's quite a few.
And that's on average, right? Some days were 7 and some days were 2 and those kind of things, right? Of coffees or massages or gas, or whatever that you're purchasing. My challenge to you is to go a full day without spending money and then go to 2 and 3. Like continue to push that over to continue to hit your goals, but live the life you want to live as well.
Yeah, I know what you mean, because I know I've done my budget, and I know it costs me $80 a day to be alive. So that covers my rent, my food, my everything. So, I know what it costs me per day, and sometimes, and because I know that, I actually don't want to spend any money.
That's a great little exercise. I like that.
So, is on any of your like websites or social platforms, do you have any quizzes on there people can do, or some tools on there that people can use?
Yeah, so I do have a free guide. If you go to moneylikemike.com/free guide, and that will help you find $10,000 this year. So 8 easy steps to find $10,000 that you probably won't even notice, honestly. If you do any of these, you probably won't even notice a change in your lifestyle, but yet you'll have $10,000 extra over the rest of 2022.
All right, perfect. Well, that was Mike Staunton. Moved from America when he was 25, left home when he was 16. What a legend. Money Like Mike, here to help you make decisions on changing your life, money and also health-wise and life-wise. So I appreciate you coming on, Mike. Good to speak to you again. And, this is Win Against All Odds. And Mike's done it, so he can teach you how.
Yeah. Thanks, brother.
Thanks, brother.